parents were immigrants from Germany after World War I, and Dad became a citizen. And we lived a very comfortable, quiet life. Life was very different in the 30s. And I remember Pearl Harbor Day. And that was 41 and 42, the FBI knocked on the door and began asking questions, such as if you were in the Army and you saw your brother on the front, would you kill him? And it went on for a while. And finally, Dad was very discouraged about it and sent his citizenship papers in. And in April of 43, we were interned. And we were on Ellis Island from April until July. And then in July, we went to Crystal City, Texas, where there were 4 border guards, and we were surrounded by a fence. And when I think of the story, it was the story of a 14-year-old. And to me, it was a great adventure.
I remember that my father had a job. He had it all through the Depression. So we did not suffer as much as others that we saw around us. Everybody worked together. I lived in a small town, and they all, it was just a neighbor helping neighbor and concern for each other. So I don't remember being hungry or anything like that, because I remember Daddy said he bought enough pork chops for 5 of us for 25 cents. So, things were really difficult.
Relating to the times we're going through now, history repeats itself, and we're in great stress in this country, in this world today, economically and military, everything. But my father managed a lumber company, and so we didn't have everything, but we had enough. And I didn't know anybody that had everything. I just didn't. And I also remember we lived near the steel mills in Pittsburgh, and lines with maybe 2,000 people in a line, men after a job the day before. They had put a sign on the gate on the steel mill that they were going to hire 2 people. And 2,000 men to show up for that, it was just terrible. There was no work of any account. So I remember just hard times.
I know when I talk with my friends who are of my generation, we're very concerned for what our children and grandchildren are going to be seeing in the future. And we're not at all, we don't have a secure feeling that their lives are going to be as ours was, that we lived it in safety and in quiet. And while there was worldly turmoil, of course, even the attitude, I think, about the war with Americans was very different. It was a very patriotic time.
As I look back over my life and the hand of God that has been on my life, I don't know that I could have done anything any differently, really, because He used everything that happened in my life for a purpose, and He used it to show me His plan for my life. Looking back, I don't think I have any regrets. I don't think I do anything different. Now that may sound funny, but I'm perfectly happy with the way my life turned out.
There is no way that I can leave God out of this, because through every experience, whether it was going to Europe, I was shot at when I was in Germany, and the bullet missed me. I was across the street from my grandmother's and walked across the street, and a shell exploded where I had been 2 minutes before. My yearning for my children and my grandchildren, as I look back over my life, I can see God's protective hand in my life all the way through. I could not even begin to tell you. And how does God speak to you? He speaks to us in many ways. And that's my desire for my children and my grandchildren, because no matter what they go through in this culture, their security is going to be in the Lord Jesus Christ. It never has been in what goes on around them in the world. And coming through any crisis, and every life is crisis, keep our eyes on eternity, because it isn't always going to be this way.